much without measure to share with you who have the intelligence to receive it. It's like with anything that you are serving in the way of a meal. If people don't trust the container that the meal came in, when you're not looking at it, throw it away. They'll throw the food away. Allah have made me able to offer even when I see people throwing it away, because he told me to give you warning from him, whether you hear me or whether you throw it away. So before I get into a subject, many of you are always calling me, and you seem to not realize that, I'm not a person who just stand up and say something and don't really mean it. You're used to leaders standing up telling you things that they don't mean. It's just like you'll hear some of them say, well, if you find somebody who they think they are guided better than me, you just bring them. And they don't mean it. I mean it when I say that. You see, that's why I give out my phone number. I also told you I don't have anything to hide. And so if you have a question or something that you want to ask me, you don't have to get me in a private setting and ask the question. If I think it's an improper question, I will tell you in front of people. And if I have the answer, I will answer it. If I don't have the answer, I'll tell you I don't know. Because I don't keep up no image either. I'm not looking for your praise. Allah didn't put me here to look for your praise. That's where your leaders, they need some cheering section or whatever to help them get up something, because they entertaining you. They ain't teaching you nothing. I'm proving that they ain't taught you nothing. I stand up here and challenge all of your religions and whatnot. And all I do is insult me rather than come and you have the true religion. If I call all your religions a lie, then what does your common sense tell you that I'm telling you that those people that's been teaching you been doing? I dare you to walk up to one of my followers and tell him his teacher teaching him a lie. Because he'll get his teacher on the phone and say, son of man, we got somebody that think you lying. And I would say, well, if you got somebody to think I'm lying, you get them into the class. Ain't got to talk to you in private. Because the first thing, I don't lie. If I'm telling you it's not true, I don't know it ain't true. That's all. It's like what the messenger said when he said that, once you die, He said, you just don't come back physically. He said, that's the thing that just don't happen. Now, if you come back to me and say, well, Muhammad, now you see, I'm back. I was a great day in the morning. That's another, that's a term that people they say, man, all this time I've been believing wrong, and I didn't know that. Huh? So we just say great day in the morning. So so I don't stand up and tell you something that I know is not true. Okay. That's why I don't have to fear who's gonna walk through that door. I don't have to fear who's gonna come on this phone line. And so now, before I go into a subject, uh, did any one of you have something you wanted to ask me about that you give that I said or that you just wanted to ask me? I'll do it like that. And if you got something you want to ask me, you ask me. Just unmute your phone by pressing *6 and ask your question. And if I don't ask you why you asking a question, stop going through this thing that you got to explain to me why you asking me a question. I you know, if you got a question, just ask your question and quit wasting time. Now, anyone y'all got a question? Okay. Well, let me get on back to see. This also tells. This also. Yes.
Yes, I have a question. Like when you go and fill out applications, and the applications have Black or African American, what do you put? You just mark Asian?
No, it don't have Black or African American in two separate spots. They just have, you know, you and I.
They have it
Just a moment. Since you can't make a mind, they put that in there. If Black, check. If African American, check that. Well, that's what that's or means Black or African or those who are known as African American. It don't make no difference.
Well, I think I scrape out the African American.
You ain't got to scrape out nothing.
All right.
Just, you know, quit tripping.
Leave it like it is.
Just leave it like it is. You didn't. That's not your. Well, that's not your application. I just told you what to do. If you asked my advice, I gave it. I'm not finna get in no argument with you about what you want to call yourself whatever you want to. I'm not finna get into that with you. Especially when you asked me a simple question, I gave you the answer.
But you said the Black people came from Asia.
Said Black people came from Asia. I have not taught you that Black people came from Asia.
I thought you said Black.
No, I ain't never said that. See, that's why what I mean about you all. That's why I don't have no private conversations with you. Because even though I'm saying one thing, you taking it to mean
the whole earth was Asia.
Yes, the whole earth is Asia.
So if the whole earth is Asia, then why would we even say African American? Why everybody just want
You started this conversation about a application.
Right.
When you start taking job applications and make out the application, then you put on there what you want on there to describe people and ask them questions about what they are. But if somebody else putting it on there and you know who they are talking about, just check the thing that they are. All you see, y'all don't know nothing about peace. That's why everything you do, you wind up in some frivolous argument over nothing.
But I noticed where the
That's what I'm talking about. Be quiet. I don't heard enough from you. Just be quiet. Just hush. These people don't want to hear this. This is not going nowhere. All that's doing is breaking the peace of everybody who tries.
yes, sir.
You know. So, you know, I mean, you go to work for people and they got an application. If you know what box best fits your description, just check that. Sitting up here arguing about over what? You know, some of y'all just ain't gonna make it. I'm sorry. You just ain't gonna make it. The messenger told you that. He said, some of you are so messed up. He said, some of us are so messed up that God himself can't help us. I'm lying. Because you don't listen. When you ask a person a question and then question the answer, you didn't even have no business. You wasn't even up to the question you was asking. There's no such thing as you asking me a question and I go to answer you that I don't give you the answer. I didn't say an answer. I give you the answer. And if the answer don't satisfy you, you wasn't up to the question you was asking. Now, I don't give wrong answers. It's not my fault because you don't listen and hear what I'm saying because you too clouded with what you think and what you want me to say.
Yeah, you're right, son, man.
I know I'm right. I didn't ask you to. I don't need you to tell me I'm right. That's y'all's problem. Y'all think somebody need a cheering section. You've been mistaught. I don't need no cheering section. My fan is in my hand. All my fans, you call them prophets and messengers. All of them already told me I'm right. So the thing you need to do is if you have a question and you ask me a question, you listen. If I go to answering you, then it's because I know the answer. You see? A lot of you say, well, you don't have to be so hard on people. The only way you're going to grow up is that somebody talk to you. If you an adult, you need to be spoken to and expected to come up to adulthood. The white man likes to keep you on the level of a child. That's how he mess over you. That's why he disrespects you. And see how sugar Isa, when the congressman, what's that elder congressman name there in Congress, the black man? Elijah Cummings. You remember when Daryl Isa, a man that probably Mr. Cummings is old enough to be his daddy. And he trying to say something and this little white boy sitting up there talking out the side of his neck to him. Disrespecting him in front of the world. You won't do me like that no more. You want me to show you what's in store for you. I'll show you. Let's see here.
Monday. The highest-ranking statewide elected officials in the state of Missouri are the two U.S. senators, Democratic U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill and Republican U.S. Senator Floyd Blunt. Also, the Democratic governor of the state, Jay Nixon. In this upcoming election year, 2016, will be up for re-election. Yet another reason why in 2016 she should totally run for president. I don't think she's going to, but she should. I'm just saying. In 2016, though, Roy Blunt is up for real for his money in terms of trying to hold on to his seat. Democrats are going to run the current Secretary of State against Jason Kander. He's young and aggressive. He's already really well known in the state. He already holds statewide office. In 2016, that's going to be a presidential year electorate, which is way better for Democrats than non-presidential years are in terms of who turns out to vote. So that Roy Blunt re-election race for that U.S. Senate seat in Missouri, that is going to be a hot one in 2016, as is the governor's race. Jay Nixon is finishing up. He is term limited out. He cannot run again.
That man can't hear you in the conference room.
Popular young Democratic candidate who already holds statewide office.
Just a moment. I don't know what's wrong with this thing. I don't know why it's all of a sudden so low either. You all give me a moment.
In terms of their candidate for the governor's race, Democrats look like they're going to pick Chris Koster, who right now is already the Attorney General of the state of Missouri. In terms of who he will run against, in terms of the Republican side, it is turning into a free-for-all with at least 6 candidates having would be enough in political terms. In the midst of what is starting to feel like a Shakespearean level of tragedy in that state. This story just took an unbelievable turn today. One of the first Republican candidates to declare he was running for governor this year in Missouri was the state auditor, Tom Schweik. Tom Schweik declared January 28th that he was running for governor in Missouri. And then less than a month later, on February 26th, Tom Schweik killed himself under circumstances that even now, it was less than now that Tom Schweik had called 2 well-known Missouri reporters to come to his house saying he wanted to give them a public statement. Tom Schweik had spoken to these reporters numerous times before. They knew what he wanted to talk about. They knew what he was upset about. They knew what the public statement was going to be about. Tom Schweik believed that the chairman of the Republican Party in Missouri had been telling people in the state that he, Tom Schweik, was Jewish. The Republican Party chairman had previously worked for one of the other Republican candidates who's running for governor. And Tom Schweik believed that this guy was falsely spreading a rumor that was untrue, that Tom Schweik was Jewish. Tom Schweik believed that the state party chairman was doing that basically as an anti-smear campaign to cut Tom Schweik's chances in the governor's race by spreading this lie that he was a Jew.
Now, before I let this continue to play, I want you to remember something. Where is Ferguson located? Remember all them string of young black men being murdered by people that was dressed up like police? You thought I was going to call them policemen, huh? No. There were a number of murderers dressed up And on these people's watch, these people that's be governors and mayors and people that's supposed to make sure that their citizens are protected. Is that right? Anytime you got to carry signs around demonstrating that says Black Lives Matter, why would you have to carry a sign like that around? Because it has become evident that the life of a Black man don't matter in this country. Well, it matters to me. It mattered to the one whose life you took. Now, this is just a little glimpse. You already had a little glimpse of pilots that go crazy and go crash the plane and kill everybody on there. Now you're about to get a little glimpse of what I told you about people going to be committing suicide and going into people with them. To scheme to harm us. Allah will let you plan your scheme and then he'll make you do it to yourself. I want you to pay attention to what you see.
So Tom Schweik had spoken to these reporters from the AP and the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. He'd spoken with them numerous times about this issue. He spoke to both of them or left messages for them literally just minutes before he killed himself in February. He had summoned those reporters to his house because he said he wanted to make a statement about this controversy concerning his religion. Everybody knew that he was upset about this. That day, Tom Schweik's chief of staff was worried enough about his mental state and how upset he was about this religion issue that she called a trusted old family friend and asked that family friend to check in with Tom Schweik and his. It turns out that old family friend was the assistant to former U.S. Senator John Danforth. That morning, February 26th, John Danforth's assistant, again an old family friend, called Tom Schweik and his wife at their home. She says she didn't get through at first. She left a message. Tom Schweik's wife called her back. She later released this statement saying what happened. Quote, Kathy returned my call. We spoke briefly. Kathy told me Tom was up and about and had been making phone calls. Tom then picked up the phone and talked to me for about 3 minutes. He spoke solely about his outrage concerning the rumors that were being spread about his religion and how he should respond to those rumors. I told him I thought it was best to let others stand up for him. He then threatened to kill himself and handed the phone back to Kathy, his wife. Seconds later, I heard Kathy say, he's up. Kathy then called 911 on another line while I stayed on the first line with her until the paramedics arrived. Police have not said whether Tom Schweik wrote a note before he pulled the trigger and killed himself. But there's an unusual amount of evidence from those calls that he made to reporters, from the call that he was on until seconds before he shot himself. There's an unusual amount of evidence about why he did it, about what had so upset him. What had so upset him was his belief that the chairman of the Missouri Republican Party was people his political career. The chairman of the Missouri Republican Party, incredibly, is John. Mr. Hancock did not deny that he had been telling people that Tom Schweik is Jewish. He has only ever denied that he meant it in a bad way. Mr. Hancock sent an email to other Missouri Republicans the day after Tom Schweik killed himself. In that email, he said, quote, until recently, I mistakenly believed that Tom Schweik was Jewish. I do not recall doing so. It is possible that I mentioned Tom's faith in passing during one of the many conversations I have each day. There was absolutely nothing malicious about my intent, and I think he meant certainly, was not attempting to inject religion into the governor's race. same party chairman later explains to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, sort of elaborated on that. He said, this is how the St. Louis Post-Dispatch wrote it up, quote, Hancock has said he may have mentioned his mistaken belief that Tom Schweik was Jewish, but it was an innocent conversation. He has vehemently denied it was meant as a smear. He said it was merely a description similar to saying, I'm Presbyterian and somebody else is Catholic. At Tom Schweik's funeral, days later, former U.S. Senator John Danforth delivered the eulogy and ripped that state party chairman in his eulogy for even trying to get away with an excuse for what he said about Tom Schweik's religion.
Tom called this anti-Semitism, and of course it was. The only reason going around saying that someone is Jewish is to make political profit from religious bigotry. Someone said,
and you know the sad thing is that they ain't even realizing what the real pitiful thing is. You go kill yourself? You really think a man killed himself because somebody called him Jewish? Is that what you trying to? Well, just any excuse will do. But I'm gonna tell you what. You through murdering my people and thinking you get away with it. Your body ain't nothing but the forces of nature. The forces of nature have been ordered to fight on my side against all my enemies. And soon you're going to find out why Isaiah and them told you, you better let the Lord be your fear and let him be your dread. You're going to find out.
there was no difference in saying that the person is a Presbyterian. Here's how to test the credibility of that remark. When was the last time anyone sidled up to you and whispered into your ear that such and such a person?
After John Danforth gave that eulogy for Tom Schweik, longtime Missouri Republican political donor, in which he swore that this anti-Semitic whispering campaign by the state Republican Party chairman was a real thing. The donor said in this affidavit that he met with Republican Party chairman John Hancock at his office to talk about raising money for the state Republican Party. When John Hancock came to his office and they started talking about raising money in the gubernatorial campaign in the state, quote, although I do not recall the exact words Mr. Hancock used, he said words to the effect of, well, the meaning of Mr. Hancock's comment was clear. He, Tom Schweik, is Jewish, in case you didn't know, and being Jewish is a negative attribute for Tom Schweik's gubernatorial race. So this was just an incredible turn of events, right? 2015, really? Leading candidate for governor, statewide elected office holder himself, kills himself less than a month after declaring that he's running for governor because he is so upset about an anti-Semitic smear campaign being waged against him by the chairman of the state Republican Party. And there's Senator John Danforth in the pulpit saying that this is making political profit from religious bigotry. This is naked anti-Semitism. There's this loyal fact this happened. And the chairman of the state party. And then the first person to call openly and directly for the state party chairman to resign because of this was a staff member from Tom Schweik's office. It was his spokesman, his media director, who was also reportedly personally close to Tom Schweik. They were friends. His name is Spence Jackson, longtime, high-profile, well-liked figure in Missouri Republican politics. And Spence Jackson just came right out and said it before anybody else would. He said John Hancock should resign as the state chairman of the Republican Party, quote, simply because his anti-Semitic whisper campaign does not reflect the values of the majority of Missouri Republicans. He said, quote, you can't have a chairman of a Republican Party who's been out conducting, coordinating this sort of a whisper campaign. As to the state party Schweik was Jewish, Spence Jackson was having none of that. He said, quote, I believe with all my heart that John Hancock knew what he was doing. He knew the reaction he was seeking, what he was trying to get out of people. Spence Jackson from Tom Schweik's staff was the first person in Missouri politics to call for the state party chairman to resign. He called on the competing gubernatorial candidate who Hancock had previously worked for, Catherine Hanaway. He said Catherine Hanaway should demand that John Hancock resign as the head of the party. After Spence Jackson led the way, other Missouri Republicans also jumped in and said, yes, this John Hancock guy must resign. We cannot have him leading our party. Senator Danforth was asked if he too believed that John Hancock must resign and step down as head of the party. Jack Danforth said no. The man shouldn't be allowed to resign. Missouri Republicans should fire him. He said explicitly he wanted the head of the party to be forced out of office. Quote, does our party stand for what happened to Tom Schweik? I think the state party chairman should be repudiated by all Republicans. Don't allow him to quit. Fire him because it will say more about us. And for a while, it really seemed like that guy was going to have to go. The whole state Republican Party sort of went quiet for several weeks after Tom Schweik killed himself, after the funeral. Catherine Hanaway, the competing Republican candidate for governor, suspended her campaign. That state party chairman did a radio show last week in which he said he was doing some serious soul searching as to whether he could effectively continue to lead the Republican Party. But then apparently by Friday, this past Friday, his soul had been searched and he decided that he would stay put. He'd keep his job. So just check out this very brief timeline. Thursday, this past Thursday, was the 1 month anniversary of Tom Schweik killing himself. The day after that, on Friday.
Now, before I let her finish, I need to tell you what date this was. Okay, you see the 30th? Yes, sir. Okay. The 5th of March.
After that, on Friday, John Hancock, the state party chairman, announced that not only was he not going to resign, he's not going to even talk about this anymore. He said publicly that he is sick and tired of even talking about it. Quote, he's tired of talking about the controversy. I'm ready to move on and move beyond it. That same day, Catherine Hanaway, who had suspended her gubernatorial campaign out of respect for Tom Schweik, decided to start the campaign back up again. That same day, Friday, Tom Schweik's friend and communications director, Spence Jackson, took a sick day from work at the state auditor's office. Spence Jackson stayed home from work that day. And then sometime that night or the next morning, he apparently killed himself as well. The same way Tom Schweik did. He shot himself.
On Sunday, March 29, 2015, at just after 7 p.m., Jefferson City Police responded to an apartment in the 900 block of Southwest Boulevard for what we termed a check well-being call from a Jefferson City resident. According to the caller, who's a family member of Jackson, he was unresponsive to phone calls or other attempts to raise him at the apartment. The property manager was able to provide a key to the responding officers who entered the residence and located Jackson in his bedroom. Initial assessment indicated that Jackson died of a gunshot wound. There were no signs of forced entry nor any signs of a struggle. There was.
You know, you was told to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. You were told that you have 6,000 years to do all your evil. That's your work. But the Sabbath day shall be a holy day. As in, it's a day that you better get into the Holy Scriptures with the teacher who are allowed to teach you. Better change doing. Because now, if you so choose to, you really can obey Allah. No guesswork. You can't even throw, you know how people say, well, we don't know who to believe. You can't tell that lie no more. Because you can't get none of your preachers, and none of your imams, and none of your so-called rabbis and and whatever they call themselves. None of them shows up in here to argue with me, which tells you what? They know I'm right. And not only that, they know that they ain't never was sent by God. Now, let's clear up this misunderstanding about who is God. All y'all that think you know about God, you come on in here, unmute your phone and tell me who God is. That's a legitimate worship.
The Asiatic black man.
You be quiet. No, that ain't gonna get it. And you come in here and tell me, just what do you worship? And since Jesus said, my Father is greater than I am, so that leaves him out. You see? Oh, they come in here and know what I was going to do next. Take them in the script and say, show me what you talking about here. You know, I'm the kind of person who I pay attention when people talking to me. If I'm quiet and you talking, I ain't just waiting on my turn to speak. I'm listening to what you have to say. Only a fool tries to make judgments about things he don't know nothing about. I remember that even Nicodemus wasn't stupid. Because when they was all putting their judgments on Jesus based on what they done heard, innuendos and rumors. Nicodemus says, wait a minute, doth our law judge any man before it hear him? They got mad at him for even suggesting that they should listen to Jesus, which tell you that they knew Jesus was right. He was position. Money. That's money. I mean, people can just, I mean, let's face it, man. You're dealing with ignorant people. And the ignorant man ain't got sense enough to make you prove that God sent you. So you can stand up and tell the ignorant man, you know, God sent me to do such and so. And he don't know how to check you. And he said, well, what religion he gave? Well, he gave me, what's my religion? My religion is Scientology. Sound okay? Just as good as anything else. That's what people say. Who's to say who's right? I know why they are everybody. The scripture says that the nations was angry. Angry at who? The one who came with the true religion and the guidance. Telling the world that God sent you. I defy any of you who say Allah sent you. I can't prove. Not only will I shut my mouth from now on, I will also $1,000. And if you like, you get the pistol and I'll stick it to my own head and blow my own brains out. I'm the only man on the earth that Allah have sent to do the job of correcting people of their errors in his word. I'm the only one. If there's enough, you point him out, and then I'll prove to you when me and him get together that he's lying. Look to me, if he's out there, he ought to be glad to take me up on that, huh? You see? So, since ain't nobody, well, if you've been taught by somebody, you think you wise enough under their teaching, for certainly if I'm a liar and you've been up under the truthful teaching, you know, he done gave you enough to deal with me on. But the thing about claiming to be better guided than someone else, you have to put yourself in a position to let them question you more than you question them. Because in God's word, in Allah's word, he says he knows what you manifest and he knows what you hide. You see? I know what you know not. Certainly, if you know something that I don't know, which is you say you know the truth and I don't know the truth, then certainly me questioning you about the truth will never stump you. But if you turn around and question me about it, I'm going to be stumped because I don't know the truth. It's like people stand up and tell you that Jesus was God's son. I don't have to dispute that. Jesus disputes that. You say, I ain't read nowhere where Jesus disputed that. Jesus, whenever somebody comes to you and tell you, if you ask them, who is the Son of God? And they tell you, and they calling Jesus a lie. It is right here in the 10th chapter of Luke. It says, and I'm going to start at the 21st verse. It says, in that hour, Jesus rejoiced in spirit and said, I thank thee, O Father, Lord of heaven and earth. Thought Jesus was Lord of heaven and earth. Well, I mean, that's what y'all been telling us. Ain't you? And I thank thee, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that thou hast hid these things from the wise and prudent, and hast revealed them unto babes. Even so, Father, for so it seemed good in thy sight. All things are delivered to me of my Father, and no man knoweth who the Son is but the Father. Well, if Jesus said no man know who the Son is but the Father, how could you possibly know who the Son of God is? I didn't hear you. Unless you the Father. And no man know who the Father is but the Son. Well, that's the same as he said, I'm going to keep my covenant between me and you. When something is between me and you, don't nobody else know it. That's what he told Abraham, wasn't it? No man knows and who the Father is but the Son, and he to whom the Son will reveal him. You see, that's all you can do with me. If you either believe that I'm who I say I am, or you disbelieve it. But as far as talking about you know it ain't me, and you know it's somebody else, you're just a you know lie. According to the scripture, don't nobody know who the Son is but the Father. Coming up to me, I've corrected people before. I know you the Son of Man. I said, no, you don't. It's just like them liars who sit up talking about they bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. They can't bear witness to that. They don't know that. Why you think the Holy Quran says, oh, you who believe? When Allah chooses his representatives, don't nobody know that but him and them. Everybody else has to believe. This is, as the Holy Quran says, that they take shelter under their oaths. Talking about, let me see here, in the chapter, I think it's, I need to find it here. The hypocrites. What chapter is that? The name of the chapter is the hypocrites. No, it's not. 60 what? 3? Okay. Yes. The hypocrites. You know what a hypocrite is? That's somebody who lies about how they really feel. Huh? You know how people do that all the time in this society. And then when you tell them about it, say, why'd you tell me? Oh, I was just being nice. That beats that. I was just being a hypocrite. Right? You see, the only one who get away with that kind of mockery is Allah. Because when you come to him pretending, he said, I will pay them back their mockery. You know, let me show you an example. You know, just like the word itself is God, and the word is life. Every mind that is of truth must get its life from the word. Its truth came from the word, just like every human being starts its life in water. You have to come out of water. You understand? And you have to sustain yourself with water. So likewise, Jesus called the word living water. And you notice however you look in water, that's how water looks back at you. Paying you back your mockery. It'll show you the truth for yourself, but it'll also reflect back to you what you brought to it. Do you understand? Allah will pay them back their mockery. Now, let's go on here. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, when the hypocrites come to thee, they say, we bear witness that thou art indeed Allah's messenger. Listen to their words. We bear witness. Ilallah. Muhammad and Rasulullah. That's what they say. Huh? And Allah only. I know only ain't in there. I told you my book don't read like yours. Allah only knows thou art indeed his messenger. And Allah bears witness that the hypocrites are surely liars. Coming up there to my day, bear witness that you are Allah's messenger, as though Allah called them at it. Say, see, this is my messenger. The Holy Scriptures is the Son of righteousness. And no one knows who the Son is but the Father. And each one of them brought a portion of it. None know who the Son is but the Father. Hey, you bear witness that Allah's messenger is his messenger. You can't bear witness to that. You can only bear witness to what you believe. You say, that's why the Holy Quran says, do men think that they will be left alone on saying we believe and will not be tried, while all others were tried before you? Hast thou considered my servant Job? Job was tried, and he remained faithful. Jesus was led of the Spirit. He was led by the word of God to go and be tempted by Satan. And he remained faithful. Instead, and all of the messengers of God were tried. So, it's none of you know who I am. Allah knows who I am. You only know what I told you. And if I had never told you who I am, how many of you all walked up to me and told me, you the Son of Man? So don't come up to me talking about you know who I am. You don't know who I am. You know who you believe I am. Am I clear? Yes. So, you know, and if you disbelieve, man, that's you. And the second verse said they take shelter under their oaths. You weren't told to take shelter under no oath. You was told to take refuge in the Lord. That's why they ask you, have you taken this shahada yet? Have you taken the oath yet? It make no difference about no oath you took. It's just like the people who think that they can, even like they have a thing on now about discriminating against homosexuals and lesbians. They walk in your store, you ain't got to serve them and all that kind of thing. That's not what religion is about. Is that doing unto others as you'd have others do unto you? No. Oh, so you think you need to force a man to be upright? God, as though he couldn't do that if that's what he. How in the world are you going to know what's really in a person's heart if they are afraid to manifest? Now, if America had been set up and founded on the principle and people came here on agreement that they would abide by the state religion, then when they don't want to abide by that, you can put them out. You can kill them, but you can deport them. But America wasn't set up under that. America was set up under the Constitution that whatever a person wanted to do in the way of religion was their own business. Right?
Yes.
America is not the new nation of Islam. America was not set up under the laws of Scripture. You see? So, while I don't condone, while I'm against men lusting after men and all that kind of thing, and women lusting after women, I stop short of trying to force anybody. I just tell them you can't be part of the new nation of Islam practicing that. That's from the very jump street. You see? That way, I ain't changing up on nobody. You just can't be part of the new nation of Islam practicing that. But America wasn't set up like that. So, this whole world was, as the book said, lieth in sin. What difference do it make if you in a cesspool, if you in the deep part of it or the shallow part of it? It's the same pool. So they tell people that you cannot have a business that's open to the public and then tell the public when they walk in there, if you don't like their not showing religious morals or whatnot, that you're not going to serve them. You just can't do that. Because then you are trying to force people into religion, which means your religion is vain. You know why I say that? It's yours. Because God's word says there's no compulsion in religion. He even says, put me under no burden by your Islam. Meaning your understanding of Islam is entire submission willingly to the will of God. How would you like it if people that was wicked, that you consider to be wicked, had upper hand and decided that they was going to force you into their wickedness? Would you accept that? Well, then don't try to do that to them. You can't force people into your righteousness. Allah didn't tell me to force nobody to do nothing. He told me to warn you. Warn those who have to warn both the righteous and the wicked. Look what it says. Because even those of you who trust that you are righteous, the book says, let him who thinks he stands for righteousness take heed to the Son of Man, lest you fall. I notice don't know you trust your righteousness too much to come in here and have a meaningful dialogue with me. First, I'm going to show you this. Then I'm going to go into something else with you. Wa alaikum salam.
I have a question, son of man, concerning what he said that Dr. Farah Muhammad made. Said the most Muhammad.
Just a moment before you go on. At the first study class, I asked you all, did you have any questions? Now, all this is telling me now, mute your phone back. All this is telling me now that you didn't get here on time. Now, you make this the last time that you say you followed me and you come to class late. That's the one thing I never did when I was in the nation. Anybody that knew me, how many times I showed up at the temple after 8 o'clock? Not only there, I brought me some guests so I wouldn't have to go out fishing. Because I wanted to hear the teachings that the messenger was here to give me. So I know you all are used to other people. They just want you there because they want your money. So they don't care what time you get there. But I'm trying to save your life. And so I expect you to be at the time of the meeting. I expect you at 8 o'clock, you be ready. Not getting ready, but sitting in the conference room. And I'm not just talking to the brother here. I'm talking to all of you. Because I had a conversation with the brother earlier, and I had told him that I would answer his questions in the meeting. I kept my part of it. I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He used to come out and he said, and he did it quite regularly. He said, after he greeted the people, he said, I'm a little late. He said, but I want to warn you and myself too, that we better get out of that being. Don't we may run into the wrong fellow who's on time. Now, I want you to know, I take Allah's word very seriously. I expect you to do the same. Now, since I did tell the brother that he could ask his questions in class, I'm going to allow him to do so. But from now on, you be in my class on time. Now, what is your question? Unmute your phone and ask your question.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. So you too, and I wasn't in the conference room. So that's my fault. So, no excuses.
Look here. You ask your question, or I'll get on back to teaching. Because if you were listening to me, you heard me ask for any questions. So don't be offering me all of these 369 excuses. I want y'all to get out of that. It's childish, and I want it to stop. When you make an agreement with anybody, make your side of it. Don't tell people okay and then do something else. And then expect them to understand. That's the way your mama raised you. That's one of the things that my daddy used to get on me. He got on grown men about it. Boy, your word ain't worth nothing. That's the way he talked to him. I used to wonder why they let him talk to him like that. Because he's a little short black man, and some of them biggest, what, he's fussing them until say, oh, yes, sir, Mr. Yes, sir. He said, your word ain't nothing, boy. And if your word ain't nothing, you ain't either. But when me and you talk, if I tell you I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, then I mean to do that. Now I'm going to ask you again, what is your question?
I was Master Farad Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad's uncle.
You say what?
How is Master Farad Muhammad, Elijah Muhammad's uncle?
Because he was God. And Master Farad Muhammad, God appeared in his person. And the God for the past 6,000 years was Yaqub. And when Yaqub was a little his uncle, I'm going to make a people that will rule you. And so when the messenger said God appeared to him in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and he said, my name is W.F. Muhammad. I came to North America by myself. My uncle does not know himself. And so what people didn't understand was they forgot who God was. The messenger knew that. And so that was the mind that made this current world. The God that made this current world appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And he revealed the devil to us. And because he recognized it was time for the one that would take us into greater knowledge. They saw the star that represented my birth. And so he knew it was time to send Elijah to raise me from the dead. You see? But in the meantime, he got everything ready, just like any good parent. You don't wait till the baby get here to start planning how they're going to take care of him. They get everything ready. And so remember when Yaqub was a little boy, he looked up at his uncle and told him, I'm going to make a people that will rule you. He didn't hate his uncle, but he knew that he had a job to do. And so his uncle asked him, well, you going to make something that will make mischief and shed blood? He said, nevertheless, uncle, I know what you know not. And so when he got to be an old man, he did that. And at the proper time, he revealed his creature to his dead uncle. That is why he referred to himself as uncle. He referred to him as our nephew. Okay. Now, what was the white man called us uncle and auntie when we got a certain age. Okay, what was your other question, bro?
Okay, and so, wow. I mean, wow.
Come on, brother. No,
So,
come on now.
now, here's my follow-up. Here's the follow-up. Because, see, you were talking about, you also was mentioning that the son, nobody knew the father's son, or nobody knew the son but the father. And so now, then,
turn the volume down on your phone some, and you know, talk, you know, just normal, and quit trying to, you know, just talk like you would talk if we was just looking at each other.
Yes, sir. And so, you know, then you were talking about the father. You were talking about the father earlier. No one knew the father but the son. So, but what does that mean then? Who is the father then?
I'm revealing the Father to you now. The Father is the truth. I'm revealing the truth to you now. And that's what the messenger told you, that the black man's God is truth. I worship the truth. And I'm the only one who know the truth. You know, if I wasn't the only one that know the truth, then there would be people that could come in and argue with me when I say I'm the only one that Allah has chosen and sent. But since I'm the only one who knows the true understanding of what's written, and I know I'm the only one, I can stand up and talk like this. Now, what was your other question?
That's it right now, sir.
You said that's it? Well, I'll tell you what, you was about to enumerate quite a few things when it was just me and you privately.
Yes,
but now all of a sudden you can't think of nothing. Well, you know, then don't call me privately to ask me questions. You call me in the meeting to ask me questions.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Because here we go. Now, there was a time when I was in the Nation of Islam. We was at the house, the mansion in Chicago, and Mr. Farrakhan had mentioned a dinner that he was at with Messenger and some laborers. And he stopped in the middle of the conversation and looked over to him and whispered to him to put the trumpet in the top left corner of the paper. And he said he continued to tell him, but he said that this is how he would drop seed. But he said he didn't realize that until almost till 1979 or 80 to way back in 1970 or 69, something like that. And I just wanted to mention that because I was looking at him as a divine reminder from my ignorance, or even as what I thought was more like an Ali figure with Muhammad of 1400 years ago, because of what I had present. I wouldn't have known about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad without that brother. And so, but, you know, I'm still researching, and I'm just blessed. I'm just blessed to have the 4-pack. I'm just sorry.
Well, first of all, I'm not looking for no history on how you and Minister Farrakhan. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't have no secret teaching. If the Honorable Elijah Muhammad thought that a trumpet needed to be in the newspaper, And obviously, he understands. And as for Minister Farrakhan trying to suggest that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad somehow appointed him to do something after he was gone, that's just a lie. Yeah. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad ain't appointed nobody. He did not appoint me.
I agree with that.
Well, whether you agree with it or not, whether you is irrelevant. My point is Minister Farrakhan and all of the rest of these people that's out here that's claiming that they should be followed, just like talking about he's a divine reminder and all that kind of. There's no such thing as a divine reminder. The only thing that come after Elijah is, as he said, the Lord God. That's what the scripture said. You're not living in the day. You're not living in no day of no reminder. You're living in the day of the Lord.
Yes, sir.
And so, I'm not. Then I'm not the Lord. If I am the Son, if I am the Son of Man, then I am the Lord. And that is the bottom line of it. And so I don't hear any of these other leaders challenging me on what I'm saying. So they obviously must believe that's who I am too. So, no contendery is the same as guilty. And if they ain't got nobody contending with me about it, then they must believe that I'm who I tell you I am. So now, did you have another question?
With that, I'm just going to be all ears, and
okay.
I thank you so much.
You're welcome, brother.
And salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Muted.
Now, I want you all to remember that we ain't in no popularity contest. I'm not here for no popularity contest. I don't have respect for people who say things privately that they are not willing to defend publicly, because that's a child's mentality. Children do that all the time. You notice, raise children, you know what I'm talking about. They'll say something privately, and another one will get him in front of you and say, he said so and so. He said, oh, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Lying. But children are. So you become a child. You've been a child, so you know how it works. And so and the things that I say, I don't say and afraid to hear it again. I want to share this with you. You got a brother here, that brother named Smallwood. He keeps listening in to me and keeps texting me stuff because a man like most of them that think like him, they can't get in a civil conversation with you and listen when you're teaching them something, because they just it rattles their little. You hear them fellas say it rocks their world. It shakes up the world that they live in. And so with me, I'm willing to entertain point for point. Most people, when they telling you something, because they don't really have anything but things they believe, if you try to stop them and ask them, well, what every point they make that they don't give any proof of, and you demand some proof, they get angry with you because they really don't have no proof. It's just something that they believe, and they tell you. With me, things that I say to you, I know why I'm saying them. I'm not saying it because I heard another person say it. I'm saying it because I've understood the truth of it. And you notice when brother brought up why Master Farad Muhammad referred to himself, referred to us. I knew why. I knew what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had taught us about the name of the God who made the white man. The messenger said, this people, their maker, the God, Yaqub. Well, if God appeared in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, I knew who he was talking about. I mean, duh. When did Yaqub stop being God? Yaqub was a man. But even though he was the God that is currently present is the God. They say he's the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Yaqub. Do you understand? So you got nothing from them that you're going to be fighting us with. They with me. So, but anyway, this fella, he wrote me a long dissertation. I almost wrote a little book here. I'll get to the crux of it. He thinks I made a mistake when he said God made mistakes. Well, I know it but me. That's the first thing. And so the second thing, you don't have enough knowledge in you to know if I made a mistake. That's why you can't unmute your phone and come in here and collect that $20,000 that I was talking about giving you. I notice ain't none of you offering me no money or your life. I remember the messenger said, he said that
I'm here.
Some of you may feel that you can do it. He said, but that's just
you said you postponing dispute the fact that you didn't make a mistake.
Okay, now what mistake did I make?
You made a mistake by saying to the minister that Master Farad Muhammad was not mixed.
I never said to the minister that Master Farad Muhammad was not mixed.
You did say that. I have.
No, when I was talking with the minister, he told me that your leader was mixed.
No.
And I told him, I said no, and he cut me off. And so you ran with it. Play it back. I'm sure you done found it. I'm sure you found it, so play it back.
Right.
It is often reported that he was part of the original man. And the explanation was that one of his parents was black and one of his parents was white.
So right there,
you're not letting it play.
Well,
so if you had let it play, you would have known that I wasn't. In fact, now there you go again.
Okay, go ahead.
See, that's my point. See, you can't talk to me.
Well, that's
because you trying to twist. That's the way these people do in this in the media here. Now, when I told him what I told him, I said that's what I've been trying to tell you. It never was about color.
No, he said.
That's what I told Geno Jennings. Why did you cut it off?
Okay, want me to play it again for everybody.
Everybody heard it that time.
And then you went on to say that Allah was spirit.
Yes, Allah is spirit.
And then no, he's not. I don't like.
Well, that. There you go. There you go with your own. I'll tell you what. You be quiet, because you know everybody saw how much respect you showed Geno Jennings, a man who had totally. No. I'm telling you, you be quiet.
A minute.
I'm telling you, be quiet.
But I'm not. I wasn't.
No, you're not gonna come in here and disrespect me while you kiss Geno Jennings behind. No, you're not gonna do me like that. So now, see, you remember how he is licking all up to Geno Jennings. Now you want to come in here and disrespect me in my forum. So I know he knows how to show respect, because he showed it to Geno Jennings, who called his teacher and the one that he claimed to believe in a lie. And he's sitting up there grinning and asking Geno Jennings, well, what do it mean? So don't come in here talking crazy, man. They're like, I told you, you can't stop listening. Now, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in 1974, he said, you can't show me your spirit, God. Then you say, well, he's not to be seen. He said, well, then if I don't want to see him, if he don't want to see me. When the messenger was talking about spirit, he wasn't talking about what the scriptures say. He was talking about what people been saying. He's talking about how people actually believe that they seen their dead grandmama sitting on their bed. A ghost, a spook. That's what the messenger meant when he said God ain't no spirit. God ain't no spook. But when you go into the Holy Scripture says God is a spirit. And they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. And instead of you asking what's meant by that, you want to come in here and tell me a man who couldn't even deal with a liar. Come in here and call himself arguing with me. Anytime you look at the terms that people use, you have to also know what they apply to and what they don't apply to. When Jesus said, for instance, when you look at the term spirit as used in the scriptures, it has been defined. The messenger said this. He said, the black man's God is truth. The truth is a word. The word is truth. Okay. What if you shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit, and they are life. Then how you going to say that the God is not a spirit when the definition of spirit is the word? The word is God. Then God is a spirit. But God is also a mind. What does the word produce when it goes into the human brain? It produces a mind. And the mind is invisible, just like the word that produces. And mind is God, since we all got minds. He is the Most High. He's the best knower of the word. Do you understand? So the boy don't know what he's talking about. And I can't teach him because he does not respect me. He thinks that I'm a nobody. Even though in his own mouth, if you ask him who is the original man, he says the original man is the Asiatic black man. And in his mind, he said all black men are God. Well, if he believed that, why he come in here disrespecting God? Intelligence, when scientists attack each other, if a scientist says something that another scientist disagrees with, and the one that is attacked, question, attack, we mean question. When he starts speaking, the other scientists shut up and listen. Out of respect for this man obviously must know something, or you must know something I don't. So explain yourself. But you notice when I start to explain myself to him, he starts, which tells you what? He's not qualified to come in here asking me questions, because he's not able to be quiet and listen to the answers. Not, but listen. Understand him. He knows that he done, and he even acknowledged he didn't understand everything. And Jennings, a dead man, to explain. So I guess the dead buried their dead. You know, a dead body, you find with other dead bodies. But a dead body can't get along with a living person. Body walks in that room with them dead things. Something rotten in here. Huh? Attitude stinks, man. Your attitude stinks, Smallwood. It got a little. Yeah. I mean, the attitude just stinks. And if he really thinks that I don't know what I'm talking about, what does it say about him keep on coming around him? Something I'm teaching is attractive enough to keep him orbiting around me. If he following Farrakhan, how come he over here listening to me? He can't even get his leader to come in here and defend him. Huh? You to my followers, they can call me and say, hey, we got a nut over here. So that's what I think you are. You crazy. Because with me, man, I don't fool around listening to people that I disagree with. If I come to the conclusion that you don't know what you're talking about, then you don't never have to worry about me hanging around your door from that point on. And I just consider people who hanging around you as they obviously like what you selling. And if they want to buy that, that's their business. Huh? Why he hanging here? He don't want to go in himself. And as Jesus said, He said they neither enter themselves, neither do they want to let others who trying to enter to do something. Now, he ain't satisfied to disbelieve in me himself. He wants to come in here and try to fan you away. If you ask him, what you doing, man? He said, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to keep you from being misled. You didn't tell that to Geno Jennings people, and Geno Jennings ain't even pretending to believe in Islam. You didn't say you was trying to keep them from being misled. Matter of fact, you praised Geno Jennings. Well, resist the devil. If he can't bark and go on, he go. That's where a dog do. While you're running him off, he barking. Is that right? Yeah. So, I'm just, it's just sad, man. I mean, that's what the scripture referred to as a dog. You notice, no matter, a dog is a territorial creature, and he's loyal to. Do you understand? Generally his master is who feed him. You understand? Yeah, and but at the same time, a dog is so got such a way about him that you can even be his master and feeding him. And if you put your hand down there next to his bowl while he's eating, he'll bite you. Did you know that? So that's the way a dog is. And so, why didn't he bark at Geno Jennings? Why he ain't bark at Minister Farrakhan? How come he ain't barking at none of these people? He's familiar with them. He likes the smell of them. That dog, he barks if he recognizes your smell, you see. And many reasons he do that. He also want to know if you're scared at him. But one way you can tell a dog is that when you try to talk with him, all he do is bark at you. He can't get in a back and forth conversation with you. He just bark at you. You understand? Yes. So that's the kind of folks that the book says, give not that which is holy unto the dogs. You see, he comes in here and think he's winning friends by telling people God is not a spirit. How many people you think you're going to win with that believe in the Bible or the Holy Quran? You see, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said things, his mission was to find and raise me, and said that needed explaining. And he knew I would explain it. And but you, that was too much for you, and it blew your mind. That's the best way I can put it. It's a whole lot of them who lost their mind trying to process the teachings that was designed to raise me up. It's like a machine that uses what they use, about 480 jets, 480 voltage, something like that. Them turbines that they have in 220 ain't even enough for them. They require much more voltage. And so likewise, what it took to raise me, the messenger did two things. Many people who was terrorizing and preying on the Black community. Teaching was so attractive that it stopped them from doing that and turned them into protectors of the Black community. That's why while the messenger was here, you notice the crime rate in the Black community had went almost down to nothing, because everybody was Black and proud. Everybody was talking about unity. And you remember the brothers at the Olympics back in what, 68, somewhere around there, they threw up the power and got but the 66 Olympics, something like that. I forgot which one it was. But anyway, you know, and all them brotherhood songs and all of that coming out of Motown, and everybody was, you know, Black and proud. You could go to parties and actually wouldn't see no fights or nothing. And because all of the brothers who would have started the fight had become Muslims. And so it was, you know, those who used to rob the Black community was now the protectors of the Black. You know, instead of telling you, hey, nigga, what's that? They'd say, how you doing, my brother? How you doing, my sister? And they'd be walking up to you and you felt safe with them. You know, thanks to God's messenger. You know, but, you know, you get off wrong with attack one, you never should have done that. And that's that. You know, the messenger didn't teach us to turn no cheek. You don't turn no other cheek. Now, if people fight you, try to see to it they don't fight nobody else. That's the way you do that. Because we don't bother you. Don't bother nobody, right? And if somebody bother you, you got a right to defend yourself. You have not only the right, but you got the duty to defend yourself. I don't care who they are. Oh, and know this, that when you ain't doing nothing but what Allah said do, and somebody bother you, He's with you to defend yourself. You understand? All right. Now that's enough on that. But, you know, and them brothers, you know, wasn't no cowards. You know, most of them brothers was used to fighting anyway. So they said nothing but let's dance, man. And so the messenger had to stop them from doing that. And he did. Well, put them guns down. Put them knives down. Put all that down and trust in Allah. And that's what we did. You see? And, you know, I wasn't ever no go for bad brother, you know, but I knew brothers who were some tough brothers. Some of my own family members, you know. And, you know, so, but I could run with both the squares and the brothers that was down with it. I knew how to be with both without being either too much of either one. And, you know, that's, I can hang along with folks. And no brother never called me no Uncle Tom. And yet I had some white friends when I was out there in the grave. I got along with white people. But I didn't go so far with nobody. That's for me. You know. And I think that's one of the things that most of them respected about me was they knew that if I was in a place, it was because I chose to be there and not because I was following no crowd or nothing there. And if I decided I didn't want to do something, it didn't make no difference what you said to me. You're not going to goad me into doing it. You know, everybody doing it. I just know everybody ain't doing it because I ain't. You know, and so that's just the way, you know. Now I know why I was like that. Allah was letting me experience these things. You know, because I'm the one have to try to save everybody. I needed to understand the worlds that people are in. So I do. You know, it's just like, you know, this person, Smallwood character. You know, if he really thought I was being disrespectful, he wouldn't keep coming back in here. He wasn't disrespectful. You know, two-way conversation, but he don't have nothing to have no two-way conversation with me. You know, he, couldn't even have a conversation with Geno Jennings without telling him, well, I don't know this and I don't know that and I don't know everything. Well, what you up there trying to argue with your man for? Why are you misrepresenting us? Then to jump on me first. Everybody that saw that know who won that. You ain't hear Geno Jennings tell nobody he got a hold of me. Have you? Shoot. So, but anyway, you know, it's like with anything. When people hate you and can't find no justification, they try to make up. They try to come back and try to get some justification. You understand? Well, that's the way he does. Yes, it is true.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. I know how you feel about me because I watched how you acted with Geno Jennings. And if you love him far more than you care anything about me. Well, yeah, I watched it. I watched you. And talking about you love you lie. Because there's no way that you would have been that way with Geno Jennings if you loved the messenger. You wouldn't even got up there with it.
Well,
because he insulted the messenger and he insulted you.
Okay, so where was you at when he did all this?
Watching you.
Oh, so why did
watching you? And what did I tell you, brother Michael, when I brother, what was that, Anton? Which one of them called me? Told me about it.
You seen him attacking the messenger and said no.
Be quiet, man. I'm trying to find out from here. I'm not gonna tell you no more.
You be quiet, man.
Put his phone on mute. Don't put it in my mouth.
Yeah.
Don't put it in
my mouth. That's right.
Now he sounds like a child. You know what? You gonna use reverse psychology on me now? You better put me out. You better, man. If I want to do something, I'm gonna do it. I'm in total control of this. So now, what's that, Anton? Which one of them called me and told me that Geno Jennings was up there whooping up on Muslims? And told me, have you ever heard of this preacher named Geno Jennings? He asked me and gave me a website to go to, and I turn on the website and he there walking up one side and down the other on these people calling themselves following the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I, brother, I put a stop to it. And I went there and put a stop to it. You see? So, and this boy here, you know, all you got to do is go online, pull up Geno Jennings and Smallwood, and then you'll see exactly what kind of man he is. Then you'll even ask him, why are you acting like that with the Son of Man who's on your side, at least on the side you claim to believe in? And the man who was calling your calling your teachings a lie and calling everything a lie. You there kissing up to him. What you doing? Unmute his phone. Let him explain himself. He can't say that ain't happening because it's right there online. All you have to do is just pull up Geno Jennings in Smallwood. And you go there and you tell me whether or not that this man have any kind of dignity about himself. Then want to come in here talking out the side of his neck to me.
Okay, I'm here.
You see, you didn't even come to me like you should have came to me. Instead of approaching me like a brother, you want in here like I'm your worst enemy. When I ain't did nothing to you. I didn't call the messenger a lie. Muhammad by calling him a false god and all this kind of stuff. The man you was kissing up to was the one doing all that.
But didn't you do worse?
Oh, I did worse. I don't think I could do no worse than what you did, which was kiss stay behind.
I say that out of respect.
No, you ain't got no respect. If you had respect, you never would have came in here disrespecting me.
No,
you would have came in here saying, son of man, thank you for taking care of Geno Jennings, because he needed somebody to deal with him.
But
when Geno Jennings tried to provoke me, I didn't let him provoke me.
You let him.
I simply answered the question when he tried to put words about mine.
Son of man.
Every time I went to say anything with Geno Jennings and he tried to put a word in my mouth, just like he said, all we got here is another false Christ. And I told him, no, brother, I didn't tell you I was Christ.
But you came from Mississippi to Philadelphia to allow him the subject that you never did finish.
No, it wasn't about that. I couldn't tell that man, I'm not like you. No, I'm not like you. Geno Jennings was in his own house. Now look, I'm not gonna let you overtalk me.
No, I'm just saying.
Well, be quiet, and you just saying a lot of things that you don't want nobody to. No, I went there with the understanding that we was going to discuss God hiding himself from darkness. In the first place, the messenger never said that. But anyway, when I got there, I made the mistake of going down with where him and Rodney, I got there on Saturday. So I went up to see what him and Rodney was going. I had already asked Rodney to let me take his place. And Rodney wouldn't do it. And so he got up because he talked for about an hour, about an hour and a half. Geno was sitting there on the stage and gave Rodney a chance to get up and introduce himself for about 15 or 20 minutes. Rodney took a whole hour, almost an hour and a half. And then Tom told them, keep your mouth off of Minister Farrakhan. Yeah. And left. Which I thought was very disrespectful. I mean, you said you was going to have a debate with the man. Debate the man. He left. Oh, Geno Jennings just went off. And tell me that to keep my mouth off, and he just. And if there's any other one of y'all out there that thinks that God made himself from blood spinning in space or whatever, so I tried my best not to get up there, but I had to go up there. And so I asked when I started, he asked me who I was. Told him we had already talked. He said, "Oh, we supposed to have a debate tomorrow, Minister Marvin Muhammad." And so I said, "Well, who created matter?" And all the people in the audience say God did. And Genesis said God did it. God created everything. And when he said God created matter, I said, now, I mean, but anyway, I took him to Isaiah, where the book said, before me, there was no God. I never should have did that, because by saying that, it was acknowledging that God formed himself. He created himself. And if he had to form himself, then he wasn't always in the form that he wasn't always formed. Do you understand? So Gino knew he couldn't argue with that, because that's scripture. And so next day he said, we this subject to God creating of himself. We did enough on that. He starts getting away from that. And so I couldn't force the man to talk about what he had to talk about, so I just let him, wherever he was wanting to go, I was going to let him go there. That's fine with me. See, I ain't so have to go study up on nothing to say to that boy. Just like I don't study before I come up here with you. I don't need to. Allah gives me what I need to have to deal with any of y'all. You come in here talking outside of your neck and making false allegations. You gonna tell me what happened with Gino Jennings, that I let him change the subject. How you can change the subject all he wanted? Don't make no difference. I got the truth. He found out that it didn't make no difference. And so he cut the thing short. He said we had 3 hours. He cut it off in an hour and a half. He had never did that to nobody before. Cut it off with me. He even acknowledged this ain't going nowhere. No, it ain't going nowhere where you thought it was going. You see? So I know how to deal with people like this. Just like this boy. He coming in. He wants me to be wrong so bad. You know why his major reason for wanting me to be wrong? Because Allah has debarred him from me. His heart ain't right. I need not to be who I claim to be, because if I am, he's damned. You understand that? All right. You can't none of you come to me except Allah let you. This ain't no thing where you just doing it on your own. A marriage is a two-way street. It's written, no man can come to me except the Father that sent me draw him. You see? No, if the truth is not enough to make you realize who I am, well, you don't like my attitude, that's you. What you should have been more concerned about is, was I telling you the truth? I gave you the truth. The truth don't need no clothes on. The truth don't need no certain tone to be told. The truth is sufficient and is independent of anybody. And if you were seeking the truth, well, you found the truth. And you found it in a man that's just like the truth. Not ashamed, not hiding, but just being what it is. You come in here trying to make me something I'm not. It's like I've told so many. You can come in my class all you want. but you're not going to take it over. And when I go to speak, you will shut up. And if you won't shut up, you won't be in here. No, that's that. Things about say whatever you want and think that I'm not going to stop you and correct you. Suggesting that I let Geno Jennings change the subject. I didn't let him do anything. Geno Jennings did that on his own. He didn't need my permission. You see? And if I'm up to the discussion with him concerning theology, what difference do it make what he want to talk about concerning theology? I should be ready for that, huh? Yes. Otherwise, I didn't have no business coming up there. And I was ready for it. So, now let that boy unmute his phone and let him talk. No, but if you say something that's true, I'm gonna stop you. If you say something that needs clarifying, I'm gonna stop you. I don't care what else you want to say. We're gonna get that straight first. You see? So I'm not the kind of person that when you say something that I disagree with, just let you keep talking. You see? So that's just the way it is. If it was your forum and you did that to me too regular, I would probably say, wait a minute. Now you saying all of these things and not giving me a chance to say anything. I said, well, this ain't gonna work. But I'd be respectful when I said it, just like I was with Royal and anybody else. I know I can't take over your forum. I know that.
Yeah, that's right.
You see, I didn't try to take over Geno Jennings' forum when he was back there. All that stuff, he didn't do y'all.
Did?
No, he didn't.
Yes, well, you didn't see.
When you go, I did see it. Geno Jennings wasn't saying nothing but standing there with his finger on his jaw and was letting y'all talk.
What he said was, that's right.
But when I was standing up there speaking, he back there making all them faces and all, which I couldn't see his faces that he was making. He there making all them faces and shaking his head and all that. The reason he was shaking his head was because he couldn't deal with what I was saying. Until pretty soon, since he couldn't argue, he cut it off. The last thing he was expecting was to meet with the Lamb of God. There's a whole lot of them like to get up there talking about they believe in it. But what happened if he show up? Then what? Then it's a whole different thing, because he was telling everybody, give me the word of God. And then when I was giving him the word of God, he didn't like it. You see, so I'm not a person who put on airs. But I also know how to keep a crook from making me look like I'm the heavy, or I'm the one that's out of order. People will do you like that. Invite you to their house and think they're gonna run over you or something, and then when they find out that they can't really run over you, they try to provoke you into clowning, and where they can accuse you of being out of order. Always remember, when you're in somebody else's house, don't forget where you're at and conduct yourself like a guest. They'll have to let you say whatever it is you want to say, as long as you conduct yourself like a guest. You know, I went to a room full of white folks and was talking about white people. And they wind up mad at Mr. Neubauer instead of mad at me. Because every time I was explaining something and I'd get into explaining it, he cut me off. And I wouldn't try to keep talking. The minute he says something, I shut up. And I could tell his audience was listening to what I was saying. They wanted to know where I was going with this. And every time he cut me off, they was displeased. And they also saw that I was civilizing myself in another person's house. You know, and that's what I be trying to teach y'all. It's not your disagreement with me that bothers me. Disagreement I can deal with. Disrespect is what I don't have no stomach for.
Okay, can I come in now?
You already in.
Okay, what I was just saying to the man was this. That subject about God creating himself never got cleared up.
Well, that's because, brother, it actually did get cleared up.
How?
And Geno Jennings didn't want nobody to know it had got cleared up.
No, how?
The minute I quoted to Geno Jennings and them that Saturday, told them that you turn to Isaiah, the 45th chapter, put it to him Saturday. And he cut me off and said, well, we'll take this up tomorrow.
Okay.
The reason that he said that was because I had took his argument away from him.
Okay, so it never got cleared up.
Oh, it got cleared up with Geno Jennings.
No, he never got cleared up. It never got cleared up with them.
Oh, yes, it did.
Well,
he didn't. You notice he didn't never bring it up no more.
Because change.
So
see, this is what I'm saying.
No, brother, you missing what I'm saying. I took him. No, I'm talking again, bro.
Go ahead. But don't forget
you also used to disrespecting your own kind. And I'm really, if you're a Muslim, I'm your own kind. Why you want to disrespect me? You telling me something that's contradicting what I'm saying, and I'm trying to tell you it did get cleared up for Geno Jennings. That's why he didn't want to discuss it with me again in public, because he had made such a fool out of himself over saying it didn't happen. But I could have showed him right there in the book. And I did show him Saturday in the 7th verse of the 45th chapter of Isaiah. It says, pardon me, in the, let's go to the, before me, there was no God formed. Is that chapter 43? 43, chapter 43, I'm sorry. Chapter 43, and this is the 10th verse. Matter of fact, the 9th verse. It says, let all the nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled. Who among them can declare this and show us former things? Let them bring forth their witnesses that they may be justified, or let them hear and say it is the truth. What that was referring to was the history this lesson taught us about how the moon got out there and all of that kind of thing. Them people don't no nations know how that happened. They wasn't here. Trillions of years we telling them about stuff that happened on our planet. What they gonna say? It didn't happen? Then we ask them, how would you know? You wasn't here. So the next verse says, ye are my witnesses, right, saith the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen.
Right.
That ye may know and believe me and understand that I am he. Before me, there was no God formed. Which means that God formed
Yeah, but that never discussed.
Okay, now that's why Gino didn't want to discuss that with me. Because Gino tried to say that God didn't form himself, that God didn't create himself.
Right. And that's why.
And that, no, see, you're not listening again. And when I brought that up to him, Saturday, Gino and the jig was up to he can argue that God didn't create himself.
Yeah, but the point,
well, that's neither here nor there, brother. I couldn't force that man to go do something.
No, you could.
No, I couldn't.
You wouldn't have had no.
See, that's just like you coming in here trying to tell me you can't force me to talk about something that I don't want to talk about.
No, sir.
You cannot force me to talk about something I don't want to talk about in my class.
You should have forced him.
No. Because the people who was listening, they also knew that Gino had said he was going to talk about that.
And
so you needn't think that they wasn't wondering why he changed.
But
they heard him change it.
But they wanted,
and the reason they heard him change it was because most of them had heard me say what I said Saturday.
Yeah, but they wanted to know Elijah Muhammad.
No, brother. No. When I left out of there, when I left out of Gino Jennings' place, his people was apologizing to me.
Yeah, but
and a lot of them stopped even going up there with it. So I'm not interested in that. That's enough of that. Now, as far as when you try to suggest that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was contradicting the scriptures, no, he did not contradict the scriptures. He only contradicted people's understanding of the scriptures.
Right. But the public wanted to hear it.
No, well, I don't care what the public wanted.
No.
It ain't about it's about what I went there to do.
Now. And
I did what I went there to do.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Matter of fact, the people that he stopped even calling his thing the of the apostles' doctrine and stuff because they put him out of there. They told him he can't do that no more. And I got the truth of God thing, but he ain't got no church of the apostles' doctrine no more. No, they got rid of him on that. No, I did exactly what I went there to do. And so, and if you don't believe it, since you know him so well, since you know Gino so well, tell him to come on back in here and get in the internet with me and argue with me.
But how?
Tell Gino Jennings that I'm talking about him and saying that I whipped him up.
How is anybody?
And tell Gino Jennings, since you got so much praise for him, get him and bring him into this forum.
You was one that begged me to set up another.
No, sir. I ain't begged you to do nothing.
No, you begged.
No, sir. I did not beg you to do anything.
You begged.
No, don't tell that lie. I told you all to let me stand in for you. And I told you all, just like I told Rodney. I told you stand in for you.
You say, get me back up there with Gino Jennings and I'll show you this time. That's what you said.
No, sir. You lying, brother. I ain't told you no such thing. I ain't told you no such thing. I tell you what. May the curse of Allah. Let's invoke the curse of Allah on whoever lying.
You are.
Let's just right and invoke the curse of Allah whoever telling the lie.
Let's reciprocate back and forth.
No, you just said I said something that I told you I didn't say to you.
You did say that.
No, sir, I did not.
You didn't say it.
I did not.
In a private conversation.
I ain't never told you. No, sir. You and I ain't had no private conversation.
And I thought you thought, but
no, sir.
You thought.
No, sir. We didn't have no private conversation.
We did have
that I told you to get me back in there with him. No, sir, I did, because Gino had already turned me down when I told Brother Derek.
You get me back up there again.
I tell you what, bro. I tell you what. Even by your own mouth, you are acknowledging that I ain't ran from Gino Jennings. So if that's good, well then who did the running?
What do you mean, who did the run?
Well, if I told you to get me back there, well, why didn't it happen?
I'll tell you why it didn't happen. Because I never made it happen.
Why not? Why not?
What you mean, why not?
That's what I'm asking you. Why not? He sure put a whooping on you.
Well, but
you ought to water. Geno Jennings had you kissing his feet.
Never seen him whoop me. That's, you never seen him whoop.
Yeah, look. Ain't no sense. Everybody saw you is behind.
If it was for me, you wouldn't. How did you?
No, sir. No, you didn't make no arrangements for me to come up there.
I gave that.
I'll put it like this. In one way, you are right. Just a moment. Just a moment. Now you're doing it again.
Okay.
In one way, correct. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have came there. If I hadn't seen, look here. Didn't I tell you this is I don't believe you followed Farrakhan, because I done talked to some of his people before, and ain't none of them ever been as disrespectful as you.
And I never heard a teacher that won't allow a student.
Yeah, well, you're not my student. A student is someone who pays attention and shows respect for the teacher.
Whether you want me to,
you're not no student of mine.
If I'm in your class, I'm your.
No, a whole lot of folks. When I was now I'm not gonna tell you to show respect no more.
Go ahead. I'm showing you respect.
No, you're not. I'm gonna put you out. Now be quiet.
Go ahead, son of man. Go ahead.
Now this thing about what you said about you the reason I came there, in a way you're right. Because when I saw how badly he did y'all, man, I had to come there and speak up. Dennis, he made himself look so white off of y'all because you knew so little. All y'all really do is quote the messenger's teachings. You didn't understand what the messenger was teaching. You see, so I'm here now to put all that foolishness aside, just like that fellow Price. Y'all remember him? Yeah, he out there called himself reading from Message to the Black Man and going through there talking crazy about what he was reading in Message to the Black Man. And I tried to get him to have a meeting with me. He wouldn't do it. So I took some of his lecture and picked it apart. You see. You know, it's one thing to hear a messenger of God speaking. It's another thing to be able to defend what that messenger said. None of you all could defend what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. That's not your job. That was my job. As the messenger said, if the God of truth, of which we believe in, not defend our truth, and the author of wickedness and liars is going to triumph over the truth, then it had been better that we believed in lying if the liar is going to triumph over the truth. He said, but he comes out himself to be the champion and lead the righteous to victory. So now I'm here to deal with everybody and anybody who think they can stand up and say that any of the messengers of God lied. Not just Elijah. You can't call none of them a lie to me. Because I know they taught the truth, and I can prove it. You see? And that's what I was born for. Bore me witness that unto us a child is born. unto us a son is given. Allah gave them a son when he gave them the book. And he told me to eat the book, and I became the book.
He told you that?
Yep.
You said you never met him. How you tell you that?
No, I didn't. I said I never met the Master Farad Muhammad.
You said you never met Elijah.
I didn't meet Elijah, but he said in his sayings to me, he said, if you talk to Allah, read the Quran, read the Bible.
So he didn't.
Y'all couldn't read it because you couldn't understand it.
He said it to you indirectly.
It was all addressed to me. All addressed to me.
How? Didn't know you.
It was done apparently.
Apparent.
Yeah, apparently.
Yes, I heard.
You know how I'm not going to turn it into no joke. I'm going to answer the brother. Brother Smallwood, if you was a guest in somebody's house and you woke up the next morning and everybody was gone out of the house, and you went downstairs and you saw a thing on the, and it had a plate of food, had some coffee, and had whatever, and you was the only one left in the house and everybody was gone, what would you think that food was for?
I would have no idea what that food was for.
Well, see, that's the difference in me and you. I would assume that it was left there for me.
Yeah, I know you would say that.
Yes. Yeah. That's why you disagree, because you figured I would say. But that's the difference in me and you, brother. I'm steady trying to play devil's advocate. And you don't want brotherhood. You don't want brotherhood. All you want is some kind of way to prove me wrong. No. And you know the sad part is, I wouldn't mind that if you did that with every teacher. With every. But you a lie. Y'all ain't never heard none of you stand up in Minister Farrakhan's meeting and antagonize, play the antagonist like you doing with me. None of it. So he is the spirit. Minister Farrakhan ain't no spirit of truth. Minister Farrakhan ain't opened up none of Jesus's teachings like he said, like this. He was. Again, you can't make statements that you have no proof of. Because every statement would make people go and look at the works that the Spirit of Truth is supposed to do. Or look at the work the minister. No, the Spirit of Truth supposed to receive. The Spirit of Truth is supposed to receive Jesus' words. Like you 100. You see now that from this, if you open your mouth one more time, I'm gonna put you out, and from henceforth. See, now this is funny to him. You see what you get when you try to be a brother to a dog? I'm trying. I'm not no. Put him out of here. I'm through with that. You know. See, you can't do nothing with a dog. You see. And from now on, I don't think I want to hear his voice no more in my class. Is that all right with y'all? Yes. All right. You know, and be patient and kind to him, and all he want to do is come in here and do what? You know, I don't know. Maybe he's an agent. Maybe he's trying to somehow create friction between Minister Farrakhan and myself. But you know, I'm not that kind of person. The things that I said is fact. You know, Minister Farrakhan ain't running around here telling people he's the Spirit of Truth, is he? And even if he is, you know, he haven't told me that. He's not willing to stand up and defend that position. So I assume he don't believe that's who he is. right? So I'm the only one that claiming to be all of these things. So I have to defend. You know, when people think they have an argument, until I discover that these people that or some people like him, like I just did, put him out, you know. And so that's what I have to do to, you know, people like that. So, but I like you all to see that I'm just enough if I'm stand up and tell a person that I'm something. I give them a chance to check me to see if that's who I am or what I am. If I say something that you disagree with, you have a right to question me on it. You have a right to expect me to be willing to offer proof of something that I'm telling you. Is that right? Yes. You see? You know, so I mean, it's, the world that we live in is full of liars. That's basically what you got to be a politician. A good man. You don't have to be a very good one no more. You just get up there and to find out what people want and then promise them that. And then when the election is over, you ain't go do what you want to do. But during the election, find out what they want and promise. We done found out that's how it go, you know. You remember Romney? They just telling everything now. They don't know what to tell and what to be quiet about. They're telling the whole world that they're politics. They're for what they want to hear and promise. Allah told us that a long time ago. We just didn't know what we was reading. But he says that Allah promises you, but the devil promises you only to eat. That fixed it, right? They mad at President Obama because he went on no issue. He actually tried to keep all his promises. And that's what they mad at him about. So I'm here to. Wasn't so late. If I thought we was, are we still on the television? Are we still on TV, brother?
Yeah, we're still on, son of man.
I want y'all to see something. You know, Joe Biden should be. Let me see here. Now, look at this.
The 45th president, so I'm going to pick impeccable logic. Figure 17, prime number. Will it deliver for Jess McIntosh?
Joe Biden. From the city of Scranton, Pennsylvania. Over 3 decades in the Senate. He's the VP who's a BFD, and he's ready to run the USA.
I promise you, the president has a big stick.
Vice President Joe Biden.
That's a BFD right there. That's right. Vice President Joe Biden was one of the candidates drafted in the all-in 2016 fantasy candidate draft. And today, a BFD. There's now officially a draft Joe Biden super PAC. The website for the PAC is asking, why not Biden? After all, it's yesterday Senator Cruz, the first candidate to officially declare a run for presidency. And in the post-Citizens United era, there are all kinds of ways to raise money and plot a campaign before you actually declare you're running. Bush right to rise as Rand Pack. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has ready for Hillary, and that's just to cite a few. And now there's officially a legal vehicle for Vice President Joe Biden, who I have to say weirdly absent from presidential speculation, given that he is, on paper, one of the most qualified, possibly the most qualified politician in the country to become the next president. Success presidency, his long resume as a well-respected U.S. Senator. Prior to that, he has no typical disqualifiers, although possibly some atypical ones. The president was in Iowa just last month promoting President Obama's economic policy, and as always, when a major politician goes to Iowa, stirring 2016 speculation. So, why is it that Joe Biden is not taken seriously? Joining me now, executive of Draft Biden. What is Draft Biden, and why have you decided to commit your life to trying to get Joe Biden to run for president?
Thank you. So the reason why we started this movement is because we believe that the vice president is the most qualified candidate to run for president. Here's a man who has over 3 years of as well as all his loyalty to the Democrats, and we believe that he's the perfect candidate for 2016.
You say movement. Is there really a movement to draft Joe Biden? Is this? I guess my question for you is this a thing?
Absolutely. So a week ago today, we launched Draft. We had collectively 2,000 people who were arrived in our movement. And under a week, we've actually quadrupled. We now have an email list of about 14,000 to 18,000 people. We have people every single day throughout the whole entire country signing up. For example, earlier today, I talked to Courtney down in Virginia, who's just a general volunteer. There's a gentleman all the way out in California, Los Angeles, California, who's an attorney. He's getting involved. People, no matter what, black, white, rich, poor, they're getting involved in this because they believe that the vice president is a perfect candidate for president. So
here's my question to you. Why do you think it is the case that there is a gap? I think there is a gap between his and how formidable candidate and the amount of speculation. I mean, is he just not going to run? Is he doing anything that you know of to
since we can't call it a super PAC candidate, well, we've been most negative. Our plan mainly focuses around the summertime because there's been numerous media accounts from the vice president making his intentions known sometime in the summer. So right now we're organizing Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. We're focused on states, but we're organizing throughout the whole entire country. Yesterday, for example, I was contacted by a few state reps out in Iowa who wanted to get involved. Interesting. And basically organized.
Draft Biden. Thank you very much. Coming up in the show, comedian Mark Maron and a firing squad, not necessarily in that order.
I want you something. You know, you want to know. Now, the one qualification because what is the point of putting you out in front when you never knew how to follow? Then how are you going to be able to teach others how to follow? That's part of a leader's job, is to recognize that, a president is not just, you're not just electing him, you're electing people that he chooses to follow him into that office. They are called his cabinet. And if he never knew how to follow, how's he going to know how to pick some followers to aid him? Now, I want you to listen to Joe Biden at the 2012 when he was talking at the convention in 2012. I'm not going to make you hear the whole thing, but just listen.
Those hospital beds and watch her fight with her insurance company. The very same time she was fighting for her life. What drove this man? They also knew that one and I see him. I watch him in action. And I want to show you this and prosperity. A mission I guarantee you we will complete. A mission we will complete. Folks, tonight what I really want to do is tell you about my friend Barack Obama. No one tell it well or as eloquent we did last night on Monday night. But I know him, to state the obvious, from a different perspective. I know him, and I want to show you. I want to show you the character of a leader who had what it took when the American people literally stood on the brink of a new depression. A leader who has what it takes to lead us over the next 4 years to a future as great as our people. I want to take you inside the White House to see the president as I see him every day, because I don't see him in sound bites. I walk 30 paces down the hall into the Oval Office, and I see him. I watch him in action. 4 years ago, the middle class was already losing ground, and then the bottom fell out. The financial crisis hit like a sledgehammer on all the people I grew up with. You remember the headlines. You saw some of them in the previews. Highlight: highest job losses in 60 years. Headlines: economy on the brink. Markets plummet worldwide. From the very moment President Obama sat behind the desk resolute in the Oval Office, he knew he had not only to restore the confidence of a nation, but he had to restore the confidence of the whole world. And he also knew that one false move could bring a run on the banks or a credit collapse to put another work. America and the world needed a strong president with a steady hand and with the judgment. Day after day, night after, I sat beside him as he made one gutsy decision after the other to stop the slide and reverse it. I watched him. I watched him stand up. I watched him stand up to intense pressure and stare down enormous challenges, the consequences of which were awesome. But most of all, I got to see what drove this man. His profound concern for the average American. He knew that toughest decisions he had to make were in that Oval Office. He knew that families all over America, sitting at their kitchen tables, were literally making decisions for their family that were equally as consequential. You know, Barack and I.
Before I let the Vice President continue, have you noticed that as he's speaking, it seems that his heart is in what he's saying? It's not enough to have qualifications to be over people. A household, or whether you're over a city, or whether you're over a state, or whether you're over the whole country. The first and important qualification that you must have is that you should have a concern and care to serve those who you are over. And every decision that you make should be with them in mind and what's best for them. Not what and your career, but best those that have entrusted you with that responsibility. I remember when Muhammad Ali the advice that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave him in 75, Savior's Day. He said that the messenger told him, brother, always look out for those who look up to you. You know, look out for them. When he said look out for them, that means do all you can to help them, for them. That's true. You know, Joe Biden made some, I mean, all human questionable to about America and its people. You can't care about America and don't care about its people. And he cares so much about his people that he stopped seeing color when it comes to qualifications and to goals that would and his people. And he was willing to take a back seat to a black man being in the office of president. And willing to text that he took it and not with any ulterior. You know why? Because if anyone could have sunk the presidency of Barack Obama, it was Joe Biden. He was in a position to do all kinds of things that would make people frown on the administration and make it look as though President Obama didn't know what he was doing. But instead, he's president. He has helped, and he also stayed out of the way and not tried to get something. How he was the one coming up with all of the ideas, right? And anytime a man was chosen second in command by one who you respected as being a first in command, then it makes sense that he saw something in that man that looks at. Is that right? And the more I look at Joe Biden, the more respect I have for him. But listen.
We've been through a lot together in these 4 years. And we learned about one another, a lot about one another. And one of the things I learned about Barack is the enormity of his heart. He learned of my life.
That's not a lie. I just enumerated to you that if he had wanted to sink the Obama presidency, he was in the best position to do so. he chose to do what's best for the nation, just like the president who chose him as a running mate. Well,
another thing that has bound us together these past 4 years. We had a pretty good idea what all those families, all you Americans in trouble, were going through. In part because our own family had gone through similar struggles. Barack, as a young man, at the end of his mother's hospital bed and watch her fight with her insurance company at the very same time she was fighting for her life. I remember my dad coming up the stairs of my grandpa's house where we were living, sitting at the end of my bed and saying, Joey, I'm going to have to leave for a while. Go down to Wilmington, Delaware with Uncle Frank. The good job. A little while I'll be able to send for you and Mom and Jimmy and Val, and everything's going to be fine. For the rest of our lives, my sister and my brothers, for the rest of our life, my dad never failed to remind us that a job is about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about your place in the community. It's about being able to look your child in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it, and know it's true. When Barack and I were growing up, there was an implicit understanding in America that if you took responsibility, you'd get a fair shot at a better life. And the values behind that bargain were the values that shaped both of us and many, many of you. And today, those same values are Barack's guiding star. He never backs down. He always steps up, and he always asks in every one of those critical meetings the same fundamental question: how is this going to affect the average American? How is it going to affect people's lives? That's what's inside this man. That's what makes him tick. That's who he is. And folks, because of this day, the incredible strength of the American people, America has turned the corner. First job loss since the Great Depression. We've since created 4.5 million private sector jobs in the past 29 months. Look, folks. President Obama and Governor Romney, they're both loving husbands, both devoted fathers. But let's be straight. They bring a vastly different vision and a vastly different value set to the job. And tonight, although you've heard people talk about it, I want to talk about two things from a slightly different perspective. I'd like to focus on two crises and show you the character of the leadership that each man will bring to this job. Because as I said, I've had a ringside seat. The first of these, I love Jennifer Granholm. Wasn't she great? Wasn't she great?
Tell you what, since we often tell, I'm going to take this up with you again. But, you know, I always believed in giving, you know, as I said, making my own decisions about who I consider to be a friend or whatnot. And, you know, I was looking at all of those, not just Joe Biden, but I was thinking about what you know, ever since 1974, actually 1975, because that's when I really started to, my leader and teachers last, Muhammad came in, I could not believe what I was seeing. All of them people standing up there saying things that they had no right to say, standing up pledging my allegiance to someone that I know nothing about. You know, the West Coast minister to my the whole West Coast region under the leadership of W.D. Muhammad, and I never said I was no follower of W.D. Muhammad. I didn't even know nothing about him but what the message to the black man said about him, and that wasn't good. And so I left the temple. And, you know, I just every now and then go back and when they have special, try to go in there and remind him around the ball out of order. Following him, but eventually I just gave up on that and just went on and started doing back in 75, the latter part, I started going on and doing what I was supposed to do, which was build a new nation. I learned in the military is that you always follow COs, your commanding officers, last orders. What orders you got from last, that's the ones you follow first. You put them ahead of it. So in 74, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad up and did something that none of us ever hear from him. And that was he up and began to thank white people. He made a special address saying that we want to thank people for allowing us to purchase the country club. He said they have did us a great favor. He said, and I don't that we have nothing to do but to honor and thank them for putting us in such position where we could prove us worthy. They have did us a great favor. We thank him. Then he went on and to say something that we never dreamed we'd hear him say. He said, their house, and we are here teaching the truth. Into you teaching the truth, as we have white Muslims in America, and lots of them. We have them all over the earth, and they recognize and respect you. You must recognize and respect them. He said, and that was his last sermon to us. Matter of fact, he said, respect everybody. You just saw me trying to respect that fellow who disrespected me. I'm trying to show him respect, hoping that he would reciprocate. world to know that I'm not saying that I believed in what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught. Or not just saying that I believe that you should do to others. You can't just say that, you have to practice that. Huh? All right. As I was looking at Vice President Biden standing up, speaking about the first black president, honor and respect and admiration, something that white people do. That's not a normal thing that you would hear white people do, giving honor to a black man. And at the same time, you don't see white people, a black man to be the head of everything. But yet we saw that. And as we looked in the way he has managed that office, it becomes evident that and so I remember saying there are white Muslim Americans, lots of them. Muslim is just a word, a term that means one who submits to do God's will. Listen to the words. Look it up. It's in there. One who submits to do God's will. And when the messenger said there are white Muslims in America, a person believes in giving you justice, then they believe in doing God's will. But it's his will that we be just to one another. Is that right? So, you know, this thing about judging people by what they look like, we didn't like it when people did that to us. Did we? I mean, the minute they see you coming because you got black skin, automatically you somebody to be disrespected or someone to be mistreated because of their misteaching. Know you, don't know nothing about you, that you got black skin. That's ugly. It's just as ugly if you look at somebody and just because they got white skin, you make an assumption that they some low down or they this or they that. Even white folks had to be scared to speak up too high when they saw other white people mistreating black people. So it's time that everybody be free. You don't have to fear no more. You don't have to fear no more. If you for right, stand for right. Don't make no difference what color you are. As the messenger said this, he said, no more can we go around making mock of one another. And so that nobody could misunderstand what he meant, he said, God did not raise us up to go to see who we could make mock of. No, we was raised up to that, and how it feels to be righteous. Being righteous don't mean being and not willing to tell people when they're wrong and get on them about it. But the way you do it will manifest how righteous you are. You can fuss at people without abusing them. Speak the truth. And don't get so emotional while doing it that you add or embellish it with a lie. Because if you said you can't prove, then you've embellished. And if someone wants you to prove what you just said, you have a problem. The truth should be sufficient. If a person is wrong, then being wrong, then just speak the truth. You don't need nothing else. Right? As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, and you was mocked. Once upon a time, you was mocked, and you deserved it. That's what he said. We deserved it. He said you didn't have nothing, and you would not do anything to get something. But now, we respect ourselves and we respect them. Talking about white people. That's right. He said, no more can we go around making mock of one another. He said, cut it out. We all brothers and sisters. In other words, we got civilized. And he told us what civilized means. He said civilized means to teach the knowledge and wisdom of the human family of the planet Earth. Now, what makes a family? Father, mother, and brothers and sisters. We all brothers and sisters. We've all mocked each other. Time to cut that out. You see, if we recognize we all came from one, don't make no difference when you got here. You're here, and you came out of that one. Do you understand? You know, some of my siblings was out of high school before I was born. Do you understand? And if you want to be technical about it, so what? We were here trillions of years before the rest of these people got here. And yet, in order to perfect ourselves as a species, we needed to get them here. What'd that tell you? Means we needed the rest of the family to help us complete ourselves. Do you understand? So let's be thankful. You know, I want them to stop all this killing. You got to stop that. If you don't stop it, it's going to stop you. He that taketh the sword shall perish thereby. Why you think you was told to put them guns down? Make no mistake. You don't wake up in a right thinking mind by accident. That's a gift. And each day you wake up in the right thinking mind is a day that God has forgiven you your evil and gave you another chance to correct yourself. Time gonna run out on you. Mercy don't run out, but grace do. You ain't gotta take my advice. You ain't got to believe me. One day you will wish you can. And get rid of men with men and women. You ain't gonna get rid of that. Allah gonna get rid of that. You just treat people like you want to be treated. He's on here. You better fact that this planet does belong to somebody. The book says the earth belongs to the Lord. The world and they that dwell in it. So, I didn't say that about myself. That's what's written. Well, most of the time when people pass away, when the will is read, that's when they find out what they own, what somebody left them. Yeah, I'm finding out what I own. They're trying to offer into it. White skin don't mean you damned and black. But what's in your heart will be manifest, as it says now, to set your mind at ease about this wickedness everywhere. The scripture says, "Was the days of Noah, so in the days of likewise as it was in the days of Lot." Now, if you know what was happening in the days of Noah, you know that it says that the imagination of men's hearts was only evil. What? They done got to the point where they think they expose everything. They don't have any integrity in probably do more than what you talk about by even informing people that the weakness they can exploit. Why would you get on national news telling people about this? And that observed in the secret, just go on. But many of the people right now, commercial where the man used to disc jockey and he acting like he's some kind of stockbroker or whatnot. Huh? A financial planner. And when he tells them, you trust me? And they say, yeah. He said, well, I'll lie. And his right in your government now, especially since these super PACs have gotten the way paved by the Supreme Court to buy your government. And they go and snatch somebody up out the street and tell them, hey, look, I'm going to make you a senator. What people in Hollywood used to do the movie industry. And they just pick anybody and put him up there and put him in front of the camera. They couldn't do you like that if they had not dumbed you down. Basically paying your teeth and money, which means you attract people who are not the best qualified teachers. They want a new world order. The new world order is keep eliminate. The problem is that it's got to kill their roots of America. That to go from rags to riches race. So I want you to wise up. Don't worry, they don't work. Rich people on their own, all kinds of things. They think that there's no God. They've heard the term, but they really don't believe that there is a supreme being. You see, the human family, the scripture says that God said, I shall dwell among them. They shall be my people. A lot. People that practice that, they were in authority. Otherwise, been a lot. Yes, they were telling Lot what he should and should not do. So shall it. You he didn't tell them. Jesus, Father, tell the word. And I pray not that thou take them out of the world. Remember that I'm in the world. I don't pray that you them out, but keep them the evil thereof. So when it says, come out of her, my people, then it tells you, just like the prayer, not partakers of the evil of and not live. Yeah, behind me. And when you know anything, one day you wake up and you'll look for wicked people, and there won't be none. You know, and whenever you go to sleep, you slept. Any sign and and how come they don't all what makes the earth in this carbon medicine? God is the God of living. Just the earth swell up and rise and fall, and it don't just rise and fall. The earth breathes. The breath of the earth. So I'm telling you, set time. Just like example just now. I was trying to reason with the brother. They don't need to be in here no more. Huh? Let's play some. To sleep through the winter and make you think that there was no winter. And every time there goes thing, and everybody sleep through it again and again and then. If he reversed the pole, rise from the west. You got to stop it from turning. All you do is just flip it. We man the earth. It's a laden ship. And we man it. And you know, when you get tired of a crew that ain't doing right on you, and the captain is called Mess. No, it could be. We give you the freedom to choose whether you will obey him or not. Okay. Suited to and just another way of saying fear he commands. Oh, I'm gonna let you go. And but is a decent man that cares about him and ain't got no secret agenda. I think that I'm gonna support him. So it's up to you what you think. There's a whole lot of words. You know, he's proved a man. Then he people who know. And If you see something or know something I don't, you're welcome to share it. Something that you've observed that I ain't really keeping up with politics that much. I've kept up with politics more since President Obama. May Allah bless all, safe, and in our right minds. May Allah.
Or stop. Goodbye.